and welcome to episode 5 of the Yoga Show. My name is Roos, and today we're going to talk about being lonely versus being alone. The question of this week was actually asked several times via email and through students after my yoga classes, and it is, can I come to the retreat alone because I'm not sure if my friend can make it? If you don't know, I'm organizing yoga weekends in Overijssel in Holland. This upcoming one is the beginning of April, but there are several every year. And we always get this question, can I come alone? And the answer is always yes. Not because I want to sell you something, but actually because the experience sometimes even gets a little bit more deep and raw if you do come alone. Because you're in a new setting, everything is new, you don't know what you're gonna learn, you don't know what you're gonna experience. You're really open, and I love connecting with you guys in this way. If you're there with a friend or a group of friends, there is something familiar already. So sometimes you get stuck in a role that fits into that familiarity. I'm not saying that it's always bad. I have a few friends that I love going to yoga weekends with because we're comfortable enough with each other to become still and to focus on ourselves when we need to. So yes, you can totally come to the retreat alone. It's all up to you. For the explain section today, I want to talk about Santosha. It is another Sanskrit term from the 8-limbed path that I talked about last week. This one is one of the niyamas, and the niyamas are disciplines that you can use towards yourself. The yamas are more towards the outside world, how you treat other people, and the niyamas are more how you treat yourself. And the second niyama is Santosha, and Santosha means contentment. How I like to interpret this is to be okay with whatever is. How your body is, how you're feeling, everything is okay the way it is. To lose judgments and assumptions towards yourself and towards others. To not freak out when there is something that you cannot control. There's always one thing that you can control, and that is your breath. So if there is ever a situation where you don't feel contentment, Santosha, or you feel judgment or something, try and come back to your breath, realizing that everything is perfect the way it is right now. And it also helps to focus on the positive. Contentment is, for me, more an overall feeling of positivity towards life, rather than being super happy or joyful in one moment and then being like neutral the next. So it's more steady and less explosive. It can be really peaceful to be content with yourself. If you want to learn more about this, check out my other video about body positivity, because that's also a lot about contentment towards yourself. Or do the free course that I have on my website. It's 5 weeks, and you can sign up through yogawithroos.com/course. I picked this topic for this week partly because of those questions about the retreats, but mostly because this week it is Valentine's Day. And although I'm in a relationship, a lot of my friends aren't, and I hear their sadness or disappointment in them not having a partner. There can be a lot of judgment towards being single, especially around holidays like Valentine's Day or Christmas, New Year's Eve, where you're supposed to kiss someone, or even the summer holidays where you're going on trips by yourself and people are super surprised. I totally disagree with this judgment. I was single for 10 years. I had one relationship when I was quite young, my first relationship, 18 to about 20. And then when I had to break up with them, it hurt me because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. I'm saying them because I like boys and girls. If you didn't know, I am bisexual. Hey. So I learned to enjoy being single, especially as I was traveling the world by myself, but we'll talk more about this later. I did everything I wanted to do without having that need to have a partner. Just so you know, you can be lonely as a single person, but you can also feel really lonely as a person in a relationship. So try and make the best of what you've got right now. I've been in a relationship now for 6 years, which is a really long time for me. This is the longest by far that I've ever been in. And sometimes I do miss the freedom that comes with being single, because there is no one you have to explain to what you're doing or where you are. You can completely make your own decisions, do whatever feels good to you in the moment, Whether it's going out until super late or going on a trip or staying in all day, whatever, it's up to you. And that kind of goes away. In my case anyway, we're living together, we have pets together. That freedom goes away. You kind of let each other know what you're up to if you're cooking together or if you are cooking alone, that kind of stuff. And I'm actually noticing right now my boyfriend is gone for 2 weeks for work. It's only been 2 nights and 1 day. Already, I've done yoga twice, which at home I hardly ever practice yoga for myself. Even though I want to, I can't seem to find the time very often or make the time because I like to spend time with him as well if he's home. So now I've done yoga twice, I've journaled, I've set up my whole week, I'm really organized and all my work is done quite ahead of time. I'm actually filming this on Monday when normally I film on Tuesday afternoon or even a Wednesday. Everything goes a little bit quicker if you don't have to, keep another person in mind, because it's only you that you have to be responsible for. And then if you are in a relationship, realize what a luxury it is to always have someone to talk to and cuddle and be around, because there are a lot of people who don't have this and who crave it and really, really want it. So hopefully this video can also help you to reappreciate what you've got in that sense. So I'd like to challenge you to lose your judgment on other people doing stuff alone, but most importantly, try and lose the judgment and the assumptions that you think people have about you when you go on an adventure by yourself. For example, if you really want to go dress up, put your heels on and go out to a movie or dinner by yourself, do it. A few years ago, I really, really wanted to go see the Sex and the City movie, and I kind of checked with my friends, but they weren't really into it. So I put on my most awesome dress and my highest heels, put on makeup and all that stuff. Yes, I used to do that sometimes. I still own the heels, they're upstairs, but I never wear them anymore. Anyway, I went and I was walking around there like I was on the best date ever, having such a good time, crying my eyes out during the movie, of course, because that's how it works for me. And just ignoring whatever people might be thinking of me to enjoy that moment. Or looking at it a little bit bigger, if you want to go travel, which a lot of people do, but they are afraid to do it alone, or they're waiting for friends or a partner to be able to come with them. Let me tell you, waiting is not very smart. There might be differences in when you can get time off work, finances, where you want to go. I completely love going on trips alone. This actually started when I just finished my secondary school and I went on a 6-month trip around the world, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and America. I really wanted to for such a long time. I saved the money for the ticket. And the good thing was, because I was traveling alone, I had a lot of freedom to do whatever I wanted. It wasn't me doing stuff by myself all the time. As soon as I arrived the first night, I was in a hostel with 6 girls in one dorm. They invited me to go out party with them. I met all the other people in the hostel. There was the option of hanging out with people, eating with people, partying with people, drinking with people. It was Australia. But there was also the option to just take a step back and do stuff by myself. And people are okay with that because you're not traveling together. You're just in the same place at the same time. I really, really enjoyed this. Sometimes people would go sort of the same direction and we would travel together. And then if we would get annoyed with each other or just want some time alone, we'd part ways and maybe meet up again later. But there was a certain freedom to be able to do that and to just go on the adventures that I wanted to go on. Often you'll hear people saying, is it safe as a girl to travel alone? Of course, that first trip, I picked a lot of countries that were Western, the culture is familiar to me, so that was pretty easy to travel. The second time I did a 6-month trip was to Asia. I went to India for 3 months and Nepal and then Southeast Asia and Indonesia. What I would say regarding safety is to do some research so that you're completely aware of the culture and respecting the culture. In India, for example, I was always wearing something to cover my shoulders and my knees because that's what they do in their culture. That's respectful. I was actually even wearing the Indian outfits that I got from my mom and then had some more made while I was there. It's not necessary, but to show my respect for the culture so that in turn it can hopefully respect me back. I did see tourists running around in very skimpy dresses, and that's fine if you're comfortable with that, just as long as you know what that does to the people there, what they are used to. Imagine tourists coming to your town and running around topless or in a thong bikini or something, like not on the beach, but in the streets. The discomfort that might bring to you and your family and everyone else around you. That's how I look at it. I like to research. I have lots of tips for Asia. If you want them, let me know below and I'll make a special video about traveling solo in Asia. And even if you are in a relationship, like I said before, you can still feel like you can't go on adventures because you're not on the same page about money or when or where. So what we started to do is go on solo trips, even though we are together. And it's been so much fun. I traveled to Thailand for 6 weeks to do my yoga teacher training. And I've been to many different places for work as well, for yoga retreats and filming on location abroad. And my boyfriend in turn also goes on his own solo trips. He goes away with his friends to go surfing. He went to Finland and some other places for work as well. And all that does is kind of make you maybe miss each other a little bit, which is fun because afterwards you're extra happy to see each other again. And then also it makes the vacations or trips that you do go on together that much more special. So being in a relationship doesn't mean that you can't do solo trips. The most important relationship that you can have is with yourself. So that's kind of the message of this episode. If you work on your relationship with yourself, all the other relationships around you will also benefit because you're more happy and you're more content with your life and with yourself. So make time for that every week, preferably, but at least every month, because it will make you a better partner, a better friend, and a better human. So how to not feel lonely? Start dating yourself. Maybe sound a little bit weird, but make time for that connection to yourself. Do things that you enjoy and that make you feel alive and happy to be alive. Losing judgments and assumptions in order to feel that Santosha, that contentment. Before you go, the shout out of this week is actually very appropriate for this video. It's my friend Shayla from Living on a One Way. She used to travel around the world by herself for about 5 years in a row. She lived in different places around the world. She worked there. She has so many videos on her YouTube channel about how to travel by yourself, good tips to stay safe, good tips on what to bring and what not to bring, all that stuff. So I totally recommend her channel and her Instagram. She's pregnant now and settling into a life of having a house and staying in one place. So her newest videos are not so much about travel. They're more about how it is to be pregnant and stuff like that. But if you scroll a little bit back towards the older videos, you'll see all the different travel videos. She has a wonderful, wonderful channel. So if you want to take some time for yourself to build on that connection, tune into yourself again, I invite you to come along on our yoga retreats. They are in Overijssel, and there's daily yoga and meditation classes. There's special workshops in other things like Qigong and ceramics. And there's plenty of time to go in the sauna, to book an extra massage by our amazing, amazing massage person, to go for walks in the fields and the forests of that Dutch flat farmland area. The next one is beginning of April 2020, and we'll have another one in October 2020. Check all the info on my website, yogawithroos.com/retreats. You'll find the dates there and the prices, and you can buy your ticket there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Especially if it's Valentine's Day this week for you, make sure you celebrate yourself. We're making it into a self-love celebration. And I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!